Hey there, it is officially casserole season, so today I'm going to be showing you 5 amazingly delicious casseroles your entire family will love. So I hope you enjoy this video and let's go get to cooking. We're getting kicked off today by making this Italian casserole. So to begin, I have about a half a pound of white mushrooms right here that I sliced and 1 onion that I diced. After I was finished with that, over to my pan on the stove, I added my 1 pound of Italian sausage along with the onion and the mushrooms. Go ahead and cook the sausage up at this point. While we have our sausage cooking away, I'm going to boil up about half a pound of rotini noodles. I'm going to cook them until they're about 90% of the way cooked. You don't want them completely cooked through just because they will continue to cook while they are in the oven. So now that my sausage is completely cooked through, I'm removing any excess grease in my pan. You've probably seen me do this trick before on my channel, but I'm just wiggling a paper towel around in my pan until all of the grease is gone. This is just my favorite way of absorbing any excess grease. The last few ingredients you will be tossing in is just about a teaspoon of Italian seasoning along with 16 ounces of tomato sauce and then 16 ounces of diced tomatoes. Give this a really good stir and then let this simmer on your stove for about 5 to 10 minutes. Assembling this casserole seriously cannot get any easier than this. To the bottom of my 9x13 baking dish that I greased, I added half the amount of the Italian sausage mixture we made up, and then go ahead and add all of the noodles that we boiled. On top of the noodles, add 1 cup of Italian style cheese, and then on top of the cheese, add the remainder of the sausage mixture. Spread it out as even as possible, and then on top of that, add 1 cup of shredded sharp cheddar cheese. Bake this in a preheated oven to 350 degrees, covered with aluminum foil for 30 minutes, and then uncovered for 10 minutes. Here's my big plate of food. This casserole is so scrumptious. This has to be one of my daughter's all-time favorite casseroles, actually. We love it in our home, and I really do think you'd love this one too. Now we're making this smothered pork chop casserole. So into this large bowl right here, I'm adding 16 ounces of these thawed frozen hash browns. After I added those into the bowl, I added 2/3 cup of milk, a half a cup of sour cream, 1 can of cream of mushroom soup, a half a cup of shredded sharp cheddar cheese, and then you'll want to add in a half a cup of crispy fried onions, and then give this a really good stir. Go ahead and place this in a greased 9x13 baking dish and spread it out as even as possible. Next, I have 4 medium thick pork chops right here. They are boneless. I'm adding them right on top, and I seasoned the pork chops with salt and pepper on each side. I covered this with aluminum foil and I baked it on 350 degrees for 30 minutes. After those 30 minutes of baking in the oven, I pulled the aluminum foil off of the casserole, and now I'm sprinkling about 1 cup of shredded sharp cheddar cheese all over those pork chops, and then over the top of the cheese, I'm adding about a cup of these French's onions on top. This will go back in the oven to bake for an additional 20 minutes or until the pork chops are completely cooked. I served this dinner alongside of steamed peas. There are so many different reasons why I love this dinner. Those pork chops have amazing flavor, and that hash brown mixture is phenomenal. Now we're going to be starting on this Ritz chicken dish. So to get this one started, in my pan right here, I added about 1.5 tablespoons of olive oil. Once the oil was hot, I added 1 pound of boneless, skinless chicken breast that I cubed. I seasoned the chicken with a dash of salt, pepper, paprika, onion powder, and garlic powder. I cooked this chicken through. Once my chicken was cooked, I removed it from the stove. Now we're going to work on the creamy mixture. In this little bowl, I added 1 can of cream of mushroom soup, along with 1/3 cup of sour cream. Stir these 2 ingredients together, and then you could set this bowl to the side. I have my smaller sized casserole dish right here. Go ahead and spray it with plenty of nonstick spray and then add the cooked chicken to the bottom of the dish. Now go ahead and pour the creamy mixture that we just made up all over the top of that. To begin on the Ritz crackers, I have my Ritz crackers right here. I have this smaller pack size. I'm just breaking the crackers up with my meat mallet, just like this, so that they are a lot finer. Now that I'm finished with that, I pulled my casserole back over and just sprinkle all of those Ritz crackers over the top. The very last thing I'm doing is drizzling about 3 tablespoons of melted butter over the top of the Ritz crackers. This baked in my oven on 350 degrees for about 30 minutes. This casserole is so simple to throw together. It is definitely a favorite for me. I had all the right intentions on making a side salad to go along the side, but when it came time for that, I just didn't feel up to making it. Now we're getting started on this ground beef stroganoff. So to my Dutch oven right here, I'm tossing in 1 pound of ground beef. I'm breaking the ground beef up with my meat masher, and then a few minutes into cooking that ground beef, I'm adding 1 onion that I diced up. Go ahead and cook the ground beef through. Once it is completely cooked, remove any excess grease. Now to this pot of boiling water, I'm adding about 8 ounces of these wide egg noodles in and just cook them according to the package directions. Back over to my cooked ground beef, I'm adding in about 3 tablespoons of butter. I gave the butter a good stir and I let the butter melt down. Once it was completely melted down, I added in my 3 tablespoons of all-purpose flour and I gave that flour a really good stir to get incorporated in with the ground beef. Now I'm going to be slowly adding in my 2.5 cups of beef broth. You do want to add it in slowly and whisk it while you are adding it in, just so it thickens up nicely in the end. After adding in all of the broth, I have my heat on low at this point. I added in a teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce along with 3/4 cup of sour cream, 1 cup of frozen peas, and then 1 cup of shredded sharp cheddar cheese. Give this a good stir. Once the cheese has melted down and the sour cream is incorporated, I added in the drained egg noodles that we cooked up earlier. I gave this a stir and then over to my greased large casserole dish. I added the casserole right in there and then sprinkled about 1.5 cups of shredded sharp cheddar cheese over the top. I baked this covered with foil on 375 degrees for 15 minutes and then uncovered for 8 minutes. This is one of those type of meals that could go on repeat every single week at my home just because it is so simple for me to make and everybody in my home absolutely loves this one. Now we're making a classic chicken and broccoli casserole. To my pot of boiling water, I'm adding a little under 1/2 pound of these rotini noodles. Cook them according to the box directions. Now in my pan right here, I have a tablespoon of hot olive oil. To the oil, I added 1 pound of cubed chicken breast. I seasoned the chicken with a dash of salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, and paprika. I cooked this chicken through. Once the chicken was completely cooked through, I added in about a pound of fresh broccoli florets, and I also added in about 1/4 cup of water to help steam the broccoli, and I just let the broccoli steam for a few minutes just so it started to get soft. I removed it from the stove, and now into this large bowl I added 1 can of cream of mushroom soup, 1/3 cup of milk, 1/3 cup of sour cream. Lastly, I added in 1/2 cup of shredded cheddar cheese. I gave this a stir to combine the ingredients, and then after that I added in the chicken and the broccoli that we cooked up along with the pasta that we cooked up earlier. Give this a really good stir to combine the ingredients. After I added this mixture into my greased 9x13 baking dish, I sprinkled 1 cup of shredded sharp cheddar cheese over the top, covered this with aluminum foil, and baked it on 350 degrees for 15 minutes covered, and then uncovered for an additional 8 minutes. If you're looking for a chicken and broccoli casserole, this one is definitely the one for you. It is nice, creamy, rich, and flavorful. You would really enjoy it. I have so many more simple cooking videos like this on my channel, so make sure you're subscribed down below the video so you don't miss any more in the future. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.